Hey crafters, welcome to Wood Burning Wednesday. Today on this week's episode we are going to make Squidward using my wood burning tool. And I do hope that you guys enjoy the rest of the episode, and if you do, maybe you consider hitting that like button. So for the start of this process, what we're actually going to do is try to incorporate this one as one of his eyes, this knot in the wood. So I want to just make his head in this instance. So what I'm going to do is start by drawing with this forehead and just drawing a general circle. And I'm going to start drawing here instead of just using the wood burner right away to kind of just get the general tracing. So that way everything comes out a little bit better in the end. And I'm hoping that these lines show up a little bit on camera because I am doing it pretty light so that way I do not interfere with everything else that I plan on doing. And I might have to make the forehead just a little bit bigger. Actually, I do not like how it's coming down like that because his forehead is actually really big. So I kind of want this to be the line. And then we're going to tuck in just a little bit on both sides. That's where we're coming down to. And it's going to look like this, like that. I think that, actually I don't like that. Yeah, no, okay, I think I got it. I'm just over thinking things. So what I want to do is bring this down like that for his mouth, and I actually don't want it that happy. He's gonna have a frown in this instance, because most of the time Squidward, unfortunately, is rather not happy, because that's just the general situation that he ends up being in. And I cannot blame him with a lot of the things that he ends up having to deal with. SpongeBob, it really just does not let up in a lot of cases. I definitely, as an older person now, I definitely identify more with Squidward than I do with SpongeBob, but as a kid, I definitely enjoyed SpongeBob a lot more as a character. But I think that's how most people do it. Alright, I'm just going to draw the line here, just kind of have the reference. And it looks like a Cyclops at this stage, but that's kind of the general look for right now. So one side of the head is not quite even, so I've made that line a little bit darker than I intended. And I don't know how much of this I want to actually keep in the video, and I'm sorry that I'm shaking the camera if it shows up. I'm sorry, but I do occasionally get a little excited and bump the camera. So that's going to be the hats, his work hat that Mr. Krabs makes him wear. So that's the general shape, and I'm not going to fill in too many details, but the line kind of goes here. That looks a little bit better. So for his eyes, I do want them to kind of come up right about here because he's frowning. So the line would be like that. It's not quite a unibrow, but that's kind of what we have here. There we go, and then a little bit rounded on this side. So we're going to connect that eye and connect the other. And it is a little bit of a bigger eye, but I do kind of want to incorporate it at least a little bit. We do need the eye to come down just a little bit. The eyelid anyway. And that's my intention. It's going to be a little bit of a big pupil for Squidward, but I mean, why not use the natural beauty of the wood to enhance the artwork that I'm making? So the eye would be right about here on this side as well. So I don't know if a lot of these are going to show up on camera, but we will enhance a lot of the details as we go along. This always is just the start of the process. So we need a little bit of wrinkles up here because he's always furrowing his brow. And he does have some dots too, but I will not use my pencil for those. I will incorporate with my wood burning tool. And then of course, not forget his nose, which would be about here, and it's just absolutely enormous. That looks about right here, and then I'm going to erase the lines on this side because the mouth is obviously behind the nose. And there we go, we got the general shape, and actually this line doesn't really exist here either. I'm just now realizing that. This one does though. It is a little bit bigger on one side, I feel like. So I could bring it in just a little bit. Not too much. Because he is kind of looking off to the side in my reference image that I'm looking at. Yeah, actually. I think I might have had it better in the first instance. There we go. No, I don't like that. Okay. Correction. I'm making it worse. Alright. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. And coming down like that. And honestly, I'd have to correct it on the other side too, because it's just not quite symmetrical. This is why I'm doing this live, because, well, I'm not doing it live, but doing live commentary is what I meant. Makes it a little bit more interesting to kind of see my exact thought process. I see what I did wrong. I see what I did wrong. And I think you'll see in a second. So his head kind of, if we're looking at the difference, we do have to give him a little bit more of a 3D shape. Yeah, so a little bit better. There we go. I think that looks better than what it was. So you kind of got the general idea, and I'm going to start the wood burning now to get a lot of the details put in there, but we do need the general shape. Got you in a minute. Alright, it's time to make this a little bit more permanent, Squidward. This is the calligraphy point. So this is going to be still a little bit of a lighter line, but it is just meant to get the general darkness and just start without actually upgrading to any higher temperature points. I don't have it at the max yet either, for that same very reason, because our goal here is to just get the general outline. And I'm still working on getting better at shading, but as you can see, I think I have improved, especially if you've followed anything that I have been doing for a while. I have improved quite a bit, I feel like, especially since I've actually started been taking classes on and learned a little bit more on what I can actually do with artwork and drawing in general. Now you see that was a little bit darker than I actually intended, but if you hover on the wood long enough, you will start burning it with this, regardless of what the temperature you have it set at. So it's key to just kind of keep things keep moving. Keep her moving. My Midwest is showing. We kind of got that general shape here, and that was my intention. Now we're going to draw the hats. I should start putting like chapter marks on my videos, because I know you can do that. I haven't really tried it, but I suppose I could do that. Unless YouTube already does it. I don't know if YouTube does it automatically. I don't think so. But I could experiment. And there's like a line at the bottom because it's more solid, which we will fill in all of the shading a little bit later. And I do want a second line to come up here because he does have a seam on the side of the hat. His wrinkles from all of the daily stress from SpongeBob, and of course the shenanigans that happens at the Krusty Krab that he doesn't really have much say or control in. And we do want this to be more of like a line, because it's like his wrinkles are coming down over the top of his eyes, so that's kind of why his eyes don't have the full round shape. In case you were wondering, there's kind of a method to my madness, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I guess you guys will be the judge of that. Too bad you guys can't smell it, but the wood actually does give off a very pleasant aroma when it does burn like this. If anyone's ever smelt or done wood burning, it's a very nice smell. And it's one of the things that I do like about it, because it just has it. And you probably can't see any of the smoke or anything coming off, but there is just a hint of a few puffs here and there. But it does permeate, and it really does smell good. And I really rather enjoy it. But you can't really get that across a YouTube video. But if you ever do want to try it out yourself, I'm going to link all of these stuff that I use in the description below. It's an Amazon affiliate link if you want to check that out. Not sponsored by anyone. If anyone wants to sponsor me, that would be cool. But I do always try to share the kind of stuff that I use in case anyone else wants to try this out too. Because when I started this like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I'm actually losing track now. I really didn't have much knowledge or experience myself. So really anyone can do this, and you don't even really need to be that good at it. You just want to have fun. Just get some wood and get a tool and just start making some art. You can hang them up on your wall. You can drill a hole in the back of them. You can put it as a coaster for a drink. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I got one for the coffee that I keep off to my side that you can't see. That's what I'm doing. And these are only like a couple of bucks a piece. Not even. This tool is a little bit more expensive, but the one that I started out with was only like 14 bucks off Amazon, so and I believe it's still around that price. But you can definitely get higher end tools. I mean, that's what this one is, because it has temperature control. But you don't really need that if you really just want to start and try something. That's what I did. I just kind of bought it and just experimented. And that's the fun part. I mean, there's really no gatekeeping in art. If you want to try something, you just do it. No one's keeping you from it. And I can darken this up a little bit, but I think we are good to move on to stage 2. Alright, so now we are on to stage, well, 3 in this case, and this is the universal point. So this is used to more or less define lines, and it can be used for almost anything, honestly. It is the universal point. You could use it for pretty much every stage if you really wanted to, and that's pretty much what I did when I first started out doing this. But I have found better ways to incorporate it and the other points as well. So I really do highly recommend you try that. But as you can see, it's kind of being able to be incorporating everything and more solidly defining things and darkening all lines. That's the main purpose of what I use it for and what it can be used for. So we kind of got that general shape and general line going right there. And some of these lines are winding up a little bit darker, but that's kind of the point. And it's looking much, much better where we're taking this to increase the likeness. And it's rather ironic because Squidward thinks of himself as a great artist, but clearly he's not. But the thing is, though, he at least tries to do his art, and he enjoys it. And it doesn't really matter, though. Honestly, art is more or less in the eyes of the beholder. And, you know, anything can be, anything is art, clearly. There's not really a person that can really define what is and isn't art. I mean, obviously modern art is a thing, and there are a lot of different things for it. But that's what's good about art, is it's people trying to express themselves and doing things to just have some fun, make a impression on people, or express an emotion that they themselves experienced or want other people to experience. Not everything is a great piece of art. Sometimes they're just little, fun pieces of entertainment. And that's kind of what I hope I'm doing, is just entertaining you while you're maybe doing the laundry, you're cleaning the house, or doing any other kinds of chores. You just got me on in the background, or whatever it is you're doing. And I want this side of the nose to be a little bit rounder. I initially saw my mistake. The reason why I didn't like it is this nose, because it almost looks too symmetrical for what I'm going for. So I need one side to be a little bit like it's kind of indenting on itself. So that way it looks like he's looking at the side. I mean, doesn't that just look so much better? It gives it that 3D look, and it helps so much with the mistake and problem that I was having. And I didn't even realize it. I knew something was off, but we are there now. We got to what I wanted. We don't really make mistakes, as the great Bob Ross says. We make happy little accidents, and we can always correct them. And Bob Ross, his whole intention was just to show that we can just have fun making art. And that is the good thing. That is what I love about art. And we gotta update the hat a little bit. And I do need to thicken some of these lines because we do have a little bit more dot effect because of the calligraphy point. That can be corrected. And there we go. I honestly feel for Squidward because he's just kind of in a job that he does not like with a coworker that probably makes it 10 times harder than it needs to be. But such as, unfortunately, some people have. Okay, now I want to kind of get the hint of darkening this a little bit. But not too much, because we're going to be shading with the shading point later. Now what we do need, though, is an anchor. I'm trying to draw the loop, which is hard. It's hard to actually hold this up and also draw at the same time. And that is one of the difficulties that I've always had. But we can make it look alright. I mean, it's getting kind of like an anchor. It also has the line like right here. And I think it's supposed to represent and symbolize that Mr. Krabs was like in the Navy, I think. But I think he was just a cook on like a boat or something, like in the actual canonical show. There we are, looking much better. At least as far as I'm aware, that's kind of my general understanding of the lore. I mean, there's probably more to it than that. Obviously, I have never been or served, and I really do appreciate those that have served and the sacrifices that they have made. And I think we are just about done on most of the shading. I kind of want to thicken up this line for the lid just to give it a little bit more. And I kind of want to darken this. And you can see how much smoke just came off there because this knot is like the easiest to burn part of the wood. It has like resin and stuff in it that's basically flammable. So yeah. So I try to be very gentle with that part. Otherwise, it's just immediately just going to turn black. And I think we're good. I could incorporate his neck as well. And I was thinking about it, but I decided to just kind of leave it off. Yeah, might as well. It's not too much effort. Actually, that's not going to work. Because we do kind of... There we are. I did kind of make the mistake. But I could probably figure something out with this to incorporate that line into something. I should have thought about it before I kind of put pen to paper. But, you know what? Let's roll with it. And I want to make this segment a little bit darker because I know it needs to be more defined. And I think I know what I can do because, and let me know if you know where I'm going with this, but SpongeBob always has these flowers like in the background. And it's coming off a little bit more of a liney, but so they always have like 5 petals. So the point would be like right here. So we'd have another one kind of coming off in this general direction. With Adam, you always make mistakes, and you always get to see how they are corrected. I don't know if that's going to be my motto. I don't think I want that to be my motto, honestly. But here we are. There we are. That would kind of have the general shape. And I suppose I could, just to complete it, have another one like over here. Looks a little bit more edgy, but we'll just thicken up the lines. Alright. It's not quite complete. All of this from one simple error. See, the universal point, if you're not careful with the lines, it's gonna like extend them quite a bit. As you can see, my hand's getting tired, so that's where that's kind of coming from. That's got the general background. I don't know why SpongeBob has it like that as a background, but there we are. And we do have to make some points too, I just realized, on his forehead, because he's got like a freckle type thing going on. I think it's more supposed to represent that he's balding. Yeah, like that. There we are. We're getting there. Alright, so the next is going to do a little bit of shading on this. Alright, it's time for the third stage for Squidward to darken our lines and do some shading. And I think I want it darker on this side. Yeah, there we go. Just a little bit of shading, just to give him a little bit more character. And he definitely has more of a not too happy look, because he is constantly being disappointed with everything that happens. I mean, with everything that happens with him and SpongeBob and Patrick. I always forget about Patrick too. There we are, giving a little bit of a depth to his facial expressions. There we are. I think the neck is maybe a little bit darker, but you know, it's going to be kind of in shade there. And we need the hat to be shaded in up here. Oops. So this side of the hat isn't quite as dark as this, so I want to really go full bore. And it's really kind of hard to do shading sometimes, but I think we are pulling it off. Wait, don't like that. Much better. I think that fully incorporated it. Okay, and now for shading on these eyelids. I do need to make it a little bit darker. I'm going to try to make it as uniform as possible for the eyelids. There we are. Fully incorporated and fully dark. And then, probably the darkest parts are the eyes. The actual pupils. Just need to make that one a little bit bigger. Trying to match the energy. There, I think I have that fully. And I would like a little bit more shading under his eyes too, to kind of give him that full, like, 1,000-yard stare, because that's really what he has most of the time. This part of the eye doesn't quite have as much shade and lining. There we are. I think we are almost done. Just a little bit more. There, I think I like what I've done here. And I think I want to fill in a little bit of these flowers too, just lightly, to really match the show's presence. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and we do have an issue with that line, but I can fix that. And I know technically the shading point isn't meant to be used the way I'm using it, but I do need to darken some of these lines. Okay, so that's... Okay, I think I got it. It's a little bit messy in this corner, but we can actually kind of incorporate that. Alright, I think I got it, and I think I do like the way I have it now, and I think we are done. Alright, so we now come to the last and final stage, which is just putting on a simple sealer to make sure this design does not fade away over time, I'm just using a simple glue and water mix to just seal it in. It's pretty cheap and effective, but I do want to try experimenting with other sealers. I know Mod Podge is another one. I just have not tried that as of yet. This one I just happen to have glue and water, and I know this works, so that's why I've been doing it this way. But I will eventually be upgrading my setup to enhance my crafting abilities. This typically takes about a day or two to dry, to fully set in, but it tends to work pretty well. So if you're looking for something like that, just a simple glue and water, any kind of clear glue will basically work. And I try to do like 30%, 40% water mix in is a good amount. That's typically what I've been doing. And I do try to get the bark as well, just to have it fully all the way around. And we're all taken care of. And then I just let it dry for a day or two. And now it's been a full day, and it's fully set in now. The sealer is fully set in, and everything is fully complete. And I think I actually did pretty good on this. It actually has a pretty good 3D look. And I was a little skeptical in this corner here, but it actually really does look really well to me. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, I would really appreciate it if you hit a like and that subscribe button as well. And if you want to see what tools I used, I have those linked in the description below with my Amazon affiliate links. And I've also written a book, which you can see the description for that as well, in the description, I mean. And as always, hope you guys have a wonderful day.